Talking about food this week, and Yasmin and Daryl's wedding planner, Joy Edwards from A Joyful Occasion, joins us now to talk about the cake and the catering. Joy, the food is a really big deal when you're talking about a wedding reception, isn't it?
Yes, it is. You always want to entertain your guests. So yes, picking out your caterer is very important. And there's several things that you want to remember when you are looking for a caterer. One of the things is get a recommendation. Find someone that can refer you to a good caterer, someone that's a professional. That'll make all the difference in your actual catering situation.
Now, how do you define good? What makes a good caterer?
Well, a good caterer is somebody that is professional. They've been in business. They have the experience to do a good job for you and your guest. Important thing is when you go to see a good caterer, they will talk with you about their services and find out what's really included so that you understand what you're getting that day, whether they set up the tables and chairs, put on your linens, or if they just drop off the food. You just need to understand what they're offering you and be very clear on that.
Because there are very distinct differences, aren't there? Some caterers will do everything, and then others you need to buy your own plates and forks or rent them, don't you?
That is true. That is true. That's why I said it's very important that you go and look at 2 or 3 different caterers so you can combine or compare them so that you do know what you're getting and find out, like I said, what is included, whether they set up, whether they clean up, whether they drop off the food. It's just important that you understand all aspects of their catering situation.
People will remember whether they had a good time eating or not.
They will.
Now, the cake, I mean, they're so beautiful, and we love to ooh and ah over how they look, but they also need to taste good too, don't they?
Oh, yes. Everyone remembers the cake. Remember, cake is the traditional ceremony or traditional symbol of a wedding, and it's a display piece in your reception. So you do want a nice cake, so it's very important to get someone that's a professional. Can't emphasize that enough. You do not want a cake that falls, so
or
get
melts.
a professional. Yes, oh yes. And the thing you want to look for in a cake is somebody that does natural ingredients, that will not freeze their cake and then decorate it the day of the wedding. You want everything fresh. And a real big trend right now is to have different flavors for different layers.
Oh, yes. I love that. It's such a nice surprise when you bite into it and see what's there.
Yes, and when you do that, make sure you have plenty of cake because people are going to want one flavor of everything.
Do costs vary widely among cakes?
They do, and it all depends on the type of design you're getting for your cake. There is cake that has a fondant on it versus a buttercream. And fondant usually is more expensive than the buttercream. So you have to decide with your cake person the design, if it requires that fondant or whether it has a buttercream, and that will depend on, you know, how your cost is going to be.
Yeah, you talked about asking questions with the caterer. You also need to ask a lot of questions with the cake. I made the mistake of assuming that the woman who did my cake would stay and serve it. Well, she didn't.
You're absolutely
I had to find
right.
someone to do it.
That's right. Usually a cake person, a baker, does not serve your cake. Usually that falls to the caterer or at your reception site. Whoever is doing the food there will usually cut the cake. Long time ago, it used to be like Aunt Millie or somebody else in the family, but today it's usually a professional server, and you do want that because cutting these large cakes can get very time-consuming, and you need to know how to slice them correctly to make sure there's enough cake for everyone.
There's an art to it.
There is.
Well, Joy, thank you so much for talking with us, and we'll have all these details on our website and going to the chapel section of mycarolinatoday.com.